What is going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday. I was about to get thrown off again, but happy Tuesday. Welcome into another episode of the Ryan Ripken Show, and it's a brand new week. It's April 15th, and we're rocking and rolling. We got a busy show for you today. We're going to talk a little bit around the American League East. We're going to preview a special interview we had to pre-record. But Birdland, I think you know the name pretty well. And, yes, he's still a current player. And what else we got? Well, at 3 p.m., we have a new kind of segment that we're bringing back each week. We're about our community. Let's talk about people helping people. Xavier Wary with WMAR Sports Reporter. He's going to come join us to talk about a great event that's happening here in Baltimore with Level Playing Field tomorrow on April 16th. Then we're going to get back into some more baseball discussions. I'm going to do a breakdown. Umpire discussions have been at the forefront recently. You saw it in the Orioles-Blue Jays game, and then the Phillies and the Giants. You saw a big moment of the game and just trying to explain what it means, how it can be better, and the controversies around that. And then my Uncle Bill also had something to talk about on MLB Network, and it's about players playing their position. That and a whole lot more here. Before we get into the rest of it, let's talk about who is in the building with me today. We got Zach behind the sticks.
How's it going? It's good to be back.
And we have Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I'm on the IL or injured reserve with my eye. For those that don't know, I have a thing where I just scratch my cornea a lot. And today is one of those days. So I'm very sensitive to light, which there's a lot of light brightening up this studio here. Luckily, when I drove in, it was overcast most of the way, so that was good. But yeah, you know, it hurts, but the show goes on. You know,
the show does go on. And when I got that text initially, Kev, I'll be honest, I didn't understand it initially because you just said, "Oh, woke up and scratched my cornea."
Yeah, you literally you wake up, you open your eyes the wrong way. I mean, I've been to the ER for this multiple times. You know, they put eye drops in, they see the scratch. Literally, it's just like you can use eye drops to help, but it just heals on your own. But it feels like there's, for those who have done it before, you know, but there's a piece of sand essentially, or like a grain of salt in your eye, and it hurts and you want to rub it, but you can't because there's nothing there. It will just make it worse. So you have to kind of endure the pain, let it go. We're warriors here though. So we tough it out.
I'm sorry you're in pain.
Thank you.
I'm not laughing because of it. Reading some of the comments. It's more way. Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
It's just the way. Like, of all things to happen to you, you being like, I opened my eye wrong and scratched my cornea. It just checks out. Like that's an injury.
And actually, I do. Speaking of it, just checks out. I do want to announce something right here on this show before we get into it very quickly. Today is a cat birthday. It is the 1-year birthday for our new kitten, Myra. So we do have a cat birthday in the house. We will be setting up decorations and, you know, doing our whole Banksy's birthday is Cinco de Mayo. So that's going to be a whole crazy celebration, but we have a cat birthday. And I know that was a very pivotal moment in the show's history when we talked about that.
Well, now we're going to need photos, need some videos, and we do not forget Banksy's birthday. It's also called Drinko de Mayo. Some will say it, but Cinco de Mayo, you got a lot to celebrate, not the eyeball, but the birthdays. Yeah. Happy birthday to Myra.
Thank you.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
We're celebrating all types of birthdays in our community. Maybe let us know when your birthday is. Curious, we got any April birthdays. But before we move into the rest of our content, guys, want to talk to you specifically. We got a brand new partner sponsor. If you guys have been following the show for the last 2 weeks, you already know. But Merit Clubs here in Baltimore. Kevin, I forgot that we're getting there. This thing's bigger than him.
It is.
There he is. Merit Clubs right there. meritclubs.com. It's actually officially official. We got our tags in. We're ready to rock and roll. And again, Merit is allowing us the opportunity to give out free 30-day memberships. I'm going to put the link in the bio for you all. And I'm excited because we're going to see if Kevin can lift more than 25 pounds.
Woo.
We're going to see how great Pilates is. Apparently, Pilates is extremely challenging. My mom lives and dies by it, and I know it's hard, but apparently that's like the class you got to start. And then the pool's opening up here in Canton. So it's perfect time if you want to get involved. Merit's allowing it. Let's all get fit together. But the bigger thing is it's community. That's what they're selling here, and we got a lot more coming with them. So appreciate it. And Kevin, how your arms doing?
It's getting kind of heavy. I got to work on my arms.
Your shoulder stability
is
is what we're working on here. You can put it down now.
Whew. These are a little easier to lift.
We're also going to give those away too.
To me.
I'm proud of you, Kevin. Not everyone can hold up a flag for,
it's
for a minute.
Yeah.
And you did. And there's the promo code right there. And the code actually is RIP25, RIP25, all lowercase. When I move, you move.
Just like that.
Boom. Hey, guys, a lot's been kind of happening now with baseball. And I know it was a souring end to Sunday. You guys did the Kevin and Zach React, talked about with the Orioles. Maybe just my opening remarks here with this whole situation. Until the Tigers won yesterday, no team in the American League had 10 wins finishing Sunday, when you think about that. But yet, in the National League West alone, 3 teams have over 10 wins. Then you're just talking about the Mets over 10 wins, the Cubs. But in the American League, 0 until Detroit did it last night. No one's running away with the American League. No one's going to run away with the American League East, at least throughout the first 2 weeks. And I mean, hell, if you think the Baltimore Orioles were having troubles, I don't know if you watched what happened with the Boston Red Sox recently over this stretch of games. They lost 3 or 4 against Toronto, go and lose the series to the Chicago White Sox, who were losers of 8 straight. And then you got absolutely pummeled last night at George Steinbrenner Field in Tampa against the Rays 16-1. So those are those issues. The Yankees and Blue Jays are trying to get their footing. And then there's the Baltimore Orioles, who, if they had won on Sunday, would have been 7-8, right in the middle of it. But I think this is maybe a good where to start this conversation. I saw John Boy. They were talking about it. Trevor and Talking Jake were talking specifically about this Orioles team. So maybe we start with, is there an identity crisis? Because that's certainly what Trevor thinks here. So let's play that clip, Zach, to start this off.
Which clip?
Is it not in there?
From John Boy?
The one I put in the Discord, the show notes?
Yeah. Let's move on to the next one first.
Nice. Well, why don't we then we'll move on to this next clip. I was going to actually, while we're waiting, do we just tease who we had on today while we get that clip up?
Yeah. Let's tease.
Let's tease until we get it on. Okay. Well, Joe, I'm sorry. Yes. Joe is a 12-month member.
Appreciate you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Wow, a year. That's crazy.
And I remember when I started these memberships up, or at least started the emojis up, because that's what the whole conversation is. 12 months, you get a new emoji. It is Rocco. So you've cycled through the regular logo, Ollie, me, Zach, and now you've upgraded or maybe downgraded to Rocco.
Yeah. People thought they were getting a good prize when they got to the 12 months.
Well, when the 2-year mark, or no, 4-year mark, there is a great prize. So 3 more years to go.
Don't you quit. And if you want to be a member here, click that join button. But hey, why don't we give a little bit of a tease on who we talked to earlier today? And I got to tell you guys, he's one of my favorite teammates I had, and he is one of the most genuine guys you are going to know. Here's a listen from current Miami Marlins outfielder, Kyle Snow.
For me, when I got drafted by the Orioles, wasn't a team I particularly ever thought about playing for, right? I mean, I'm from Southern California, and never didn't really know a ton about Baltimore, but I truly fell in love with the organization and fell in love with the fan base, and really was dreaming of that being the place. I broke out and stuck around, and getting to do it with guys that became truly my bestest friends in the world. That that was the toughest thing to leave was the people.
So that's just one of the many clips. And Zach, we sat down with him for 20-ish minutes, 22 minutes. And Stowie, I told you before that he was going to be awesome to talk to.
Yeah.
And he didn't disappoint.
No, that was one of the better interviews I think we've ever had. And not just because it's like, oh, we asked the best questions or something like that. Kyle Stowers was just probably one of the most relatable, down-to-earth humans you'll ever meet. Listening to him, we had laughs. There was emotional stuff. It truly had it all. One of the best, I think, interviews we've done, and truly just what an incredible guy.
Oh, for sure. And honestly, you want to know what it's like to be traded mid-season? Well, just wait until that interview. We're dropping that tonight. You guys can see that. Truly tremendous. And Kyle Stowers is a guy you want to root for. And if you have been following him, Stowie's hitting .314 to start the year with the Marlins, including .533 against left-handed pitching. 8 for 15, but Stowie is 1 of 1. Excited to see him off to such a great start. Now, do we have the clip available? Now let's jump back into this Orioles conversation because Kyle's no longer with the Birds. And one thing that the John Boy guys were discussing, well, are the Orioles in a little bit of an identity crisis? Well, let's play the clip and we'll react on the other side.
Have been flat when you watch them right now. You can talk about the rotational struggles, and there's a bunch of guys on the IL, obviously, but they didn't really bring in a ton of reinforcements until they signed Gibby, and he's working his way back. But it looks identityless. That's the hard take. That's like, a talking head thing to say. But, when you watch it, just there wasn't a lot of life, man. And when you play against the Snakes, maybe it's emphasized because I feel like they do have an identity and they do have a ton of life. Like, you watch the series, and that's what it was to me. It felt like the Snakes were just a fundamentally better baseball team.
So this obviously was right after the Orioles played the Diamondbacks on the previous road trip. And then they came home. They split the 2 games with the Jays. Could have had the sweep technically because of the rain out, but the Jays had a comeback in the 8th inning, pulled it off in extra innings. Jeff Hoffman gets the win in this circumstance. And the Blue Jays walk away with a split, and the Orioles and Jays are now 3-3 on the season. Now, I agree with Trevor on the sense of that they were frustrated, not going to say lifeless per se, but the team didn't have the energy when they played Arizona. The energy was in Baltimore when they were playing the Jays after the first 5 innings of game 1, right? First 5 innings of game 1, you kind of felt that, stuck in the mud. Then the offense woke up. Then in game 2, Gunnar Henderson got going in that series. But then they found a way to not close that out, and it was a tough one to swallow. Then you have the off day. Now, fellas, I think that it is a little bit too hot takey to say about an identity crisis. But what I think is fair to say is that the Orioles need to find what makes them successful here in 2025. And that's the consistency. And whatever that's going to be, it starts with playing more fundamental, leaning on some of your stars, and finding different ways to manufacture runs. And if your bullpen's going to be your strength, well, that was a circumstance where it obviously didn't. But, I mean, I don't know. Do you guys think the Orioles don't have an identity? Zach, I'll start with you.
I don't want to say it's not an identity, but I agree with his take about the lack of life it felt like. And it's not even just in the Arizona series. It feels like we've been talking about this for a while, especially all season. It feels like at times the Orioles go down 2-3-0, and you're like, shit, that's the ball game. Whereas you didn't feel like this even in the beginning part of last year in 2023. It didn't matter if it was 6 runs going into the 9th in a deficit or if it was 1 run in the first inning. The Orioles never felt out of a game. It felt like they were always going to climb back. And I think that's why it was so frustrating, because you hadn't seen that from the Orioles this season, and really in a lot of ways towards the end of last year as well. But focusing just on this season, you hadn't seen a big comeback win. You hadn't seen where you felt like, okay, everything went against them, but they still found a way. And then you get to the first game against the Blue Jays. You're getting no hit through 6. It's just nothing's going right. Down 3-0. Kerstead gets the bomb to put you back up or put you within 1. Adley ties it, Seti gives you the lead to go win it. And you're like, okay, this team does have that life. And you felt it the next game out of the gate. Boom. They hit the Jays early. Every time the Jays responded the next inning, the Orioles had a counterpunch. They were fighting, and it was that team you felt like we were waiting to see from 23 in the beginning part of 24 last year. Then what's most disappointing is you get to the bullpen, you get to Soto in the 8th with a 3-run lead. Like you said, kind of if there was anything of consistency so far this season with the Orioles, it's that the bullpen outside CNL Perez has been lights out. They've been better than advertised.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what sucks even more is you finally felt like, okay, we're seeing this life, this fight from these guys. And then the one pillar that you've been able to lean on this season falls out from underneath you. So I don't want to say they don't have an identity. It's just kind of right now, if they're not hitting home runs or, putting the ball, I feel like it's for every team. If they're not moving guys over and getting them in, they're relying solely on the home run ball right now, which is not a great spot to be in. But I think I'm more with there's been like kind of this slow mojo around the team where you feel like it's kind of this sluggish start to the season.
I mean, it's 15 games in.
Yeah.
Right. So we got so much to figure out here. But Kevin, you and Zach are always on the reactions. You're feeling the pain of it. And again, this isn't my opinion, but it seems like for some, there's just that worry because of how last year ended. And I'm trying to explain to people 2024. And actually, if you don't believe me, we'll have Stephen Vogt had some clips from the winter meetings I think are very valuable for this conversation. But Kev, it's just a worry of, okay, we've been accustomed to this Orioles team just winning games for the last 2 years. Even on the struggle down the stretch last year, they still went to the playoffs. They were still a top team. There's the concern that the switch just isn't going to be flipped through 15.
It's never, it's never a good idea to define a season through 15 games. There's still a lot of baseball to go. There are certainly some worrying trends, and you can date it back to last year if you want to. You can certainly draw similarities, and the roster is not that much turned over outside of losing Corbin and Tony. But, at the point that we're at with Baltimore, what you want to see, and again, you kind of talk about the game a couple nights ago against Toronto where they look down and out. Tony hits the solo home where you're like, man, vibes could not get any lower right now. And then they pull it out and you end up getting the job done. You're like, hey, can you capture some of this momentum and carry it into tomorrow? And then tomorrow comes and you think that they're doing it. And you're like, okay, maybe they turned a corner here. Maybe they are like, that was the season defining win. We'll look back on it. We'll say, wow, they really, and then of course it's the bullpen that ends up getting the job not done. And Zach, like you mentioned, that bullpen's been nails all season, except for CNL, who has had his struggles. And so to have the bullpen kind of implode at that time is unfortunate. And it just seems like, you can't ever get everything clicking at once.
And
right?
I was just going to say, Kevin, it's like we've talked about, and Kevin and Zach correct, the most frustrating part of this team is it feels like there are signs of everything coming together.
Yeah.
And, you felt like on Saturday, massive win to get the momentum back. And then the most reliable part of your team fails you when you need them. So it's like you see the games where the offense clicks. You see the games where, it's been Eflin mostly. We've seen it from Cade. We've seen it from Sagano, where these pitchers are fighting, the starters to get to the 6th inning to then give the bullpen an easier way to then go help win games. And you felt like every game, like we've been seeing, okay, now 2 of 3 are clicking. Now the other 2 of 3 are clicking. And you're just waiting for it to all kind of come together and click, because I believe it was Dean Kramer said it after his last outing where he was like, hey, we're off to a slow start, but it's only a matter of time before he's like, the signs are there. Things are going to click and we're going to be a runaway freight train when it does. I think there's still that ideology in the locker room that once they put it together, they are a team to beat in the American
League.
League.
Seen the best of every aspect of the Orioles so far this season. We have seen how good they can be, and it's unrealistic again to ask a team over 162 to play your best at every single spot in every single aspect, every single game. It's just it's not going to happen. It's not going to come anywhere close to happening. But I just think that you're right. When you see Eflin and he throws these gems and the offense scores 1 run, and then the offense ends up scoring 6 runs the next game, but the pitching staff can't get it together that game, and they end up losing 7-6. you're seeing like, okay, one game the pitching staff is awesome, one game the offense is awesome, but it's another part of it that ends up faltering. And so, I mean, I'm still, and Ryan, I know you've talked about it and we'll continue to talk about it, is the fact that the AL still is so wide open. And while, yes, the Orioles are going through their levels of struggles right now and they have things they need to figure out, I mean, so do a lot of other teams in the AL. And I know everybody's even pointing to the Dodgers is like, oh, even they're struggling at times in certain spots and they have things to figure out. I mean, it's the Padres that have been dominating. And
yeah. And you know why they are?
Gavin Sheets.
Gavin Sheets. They're 11-0 at home. But exactly to your point, and this is why you can't press a panic button 15 games in. You can't. You can be frustrated with how things go because you care about your team and you're passionate. But there's so much that has to happen. The Atlanta Braves started off 0-7, and it turned out that they played two of the best teams in baseball, the Padres and the Dodgers, and they found ways to lose. It wasn't that the Dodgers and Padres were winning those games wire to wire. Hell, the San Diego Padres are 5-0 in one-run games. They have a very high batting average when playing from behind. And so I actually was on with Jim Riley earlier today on why am I blanking with Jim Riley with what we do?
Oh, okay.
Tomato. Why am I having this? This is like me in the batter's box at times. What the hell am I doing? What am I thinking? Actually, the key is to think less at times. But overall, Jim and I talked about how when you have momentum,
ball cap.
Goodness, why was I going to say ball talk? I am such a,
and
I've only done this so many
sports.
times. But so the bigger thing when you're looking at this is you're going to go through stretches. And again, look back to last year. How many people were ready to crown the Orioles early? The Yankees got off to that hot start, and the Orioles were also off to a hot start. Then things kind of can take a turn. In the American League, and you can even look to the National League, look at last year, the teams that ended up being dangerous down the stretch. Yes, the Dodgers ended up winning it. The Mets, they were supposed to be in a rebuild. June, they're just hanging by a thread at 500. They go on a run. You look in the American League, the Tigers sold Jack Flaherty at the deadline and ended up getting hot and getting into the postseason, beating the Astros, obviously falling to the Guardians. But you get my point. You got to play it out here. I mean, Houston was terrible to start the year. The first 2 months.
I think people forget that we literally had Houston reporters on this show talking about who they were going to sell at the deadline. And then by the end of it, they were a lot of people's picks before they got knocked off to probably go to the World Series.
Yep, exactly. And I'm going to play one clip right now from Stephen Vogt, Guardians manager. They're playing the Orioles tonight because this is why I talk about identity is different and how your team in 2024 is not the same as 2025. I'll play that clip real quick, Zach. I can do it. But I want you guys to listen to the words, react to it for a second here, just so I can get my point across about why things change, even though it might still feel like you're having the same issues.
Least favorite phrase is last year. We're not going to be the same team. We may have a very similar personnel, but it's not going to be the same group of guys. We've already lost a couple people to free agency. There's going to be additions, subtractions. It's the way it works. So every single team, no matter how many people are coming back, you have to form a new identity.
Yeah.
So our identity, it might look similar, it might be similar, but we have to find what the 25 Guardians are going to be. And I think the players are going to drive that. They already are. They're working hard, and we're going to come together at spring training to find what's going to be our identity this year. And it could change throughout the year, but we can't do the same things the same way. You got to find who's a team, who are we this year, and let's not look back. We got to look forward.
So, and to wrap this all in about identity list, the Orioles not have an identity, I think around baseball, I would argue if we're going to actually have this game, most teams are trying to search for what that is. I'd say one team right now that has an identity is probably just saying the Padres because they're energetic. They believe they can play at home, and it doesn't matter who they're facing. They're going to rise to the occasion, specifically at home. 11-0 at home. They're 14-3. That means away from Petco Park, they are 3-3. They're a 500 team. 11-0 at home is insane. So their identity might be they're a home team. They know how to play at home. You can't beat him at home.
I would say for a team like the Yankees, it's power. I mean, yesterday they beat the Royals 4-1 on 4 solo shots. So it's not always, if you ask the Yankees what, or Aaron Boone what he wants the identity to be, I doubt he is going to say home run or bust. But right now they're finding success hitting the long ball. And obviously their stadium helps with that. But yeah, I think a lot of teams are still trying to figure out their identity. Because we're what, 15 games in still. It feels like that part of the season where everybody, you just don't know what's actually happening.
Look at Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Boston then if we're going to play this game? And you're right.
Are they the world beaters or are they who we've seen for the past 7 games?
And so going back to this, I hated even saying about it, is it an identity crisis? Are they identity less? When you go into a year, it takes time to form who you are. And then the goal is, can you be that team, not now, but can you be that team when you need to be as you move forward in the season? The Orioles don't have to be this. If they're not the scrappy team, okay, that's not going to be their identity. I think the Guardians are that type of team.
Yeah.
And they're still that way.
The whole Central
plays that way. So maybe it's just a Central thing.
So annoying.
But for Baltimore, you're going to have to figure out, okay, are we going to be a team that is it the 2023 where it don't matter what happens, we roll with the punches? Is it last year where we can impose our will on teams? And they did do that. When the Orioles were rolling, they imposed their will. They were a wrecking force. They were the first team to win 70 games in the American League last year. Injuries and adversity then hit them in the face, and that was that. So we're going to figure out here, but the answer is not going to be on April 15th. It's not going to be in a week. But down the road, what do they form into? And for all these teams, Tampa, Boston, New York, Toronto in the American League East. So many teams. If we're going to talk about having an identity crisis, it's not just Baltimore. Each team has their own set of problems that they're going to have to address. And this is why you play 162, Kev, because there's just so much that can happen. And boy, I could tell you stories for days if I really wanted to. But I'll pause on that for a moment here because we have a guest joining us. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 2:30 to 4:30 for the most part. And we'll occasionally have guests that join us pre-recorded like we had Kyle Stowers today. We might have another one joining us pre-recorded Thursday, and then we'll talk about who we're going to have live on Wednesday as well. But for the meantime, again, continue to click that like and subscribe button. But guys, what I wanted to get into right now, because we're all about our communities, right?
Yeah.
People helping people. How did we get to where we are right now? Well, we had a great community. In Baltimore, I like to think that we have a great community here. So in this case, to help us talk about some great things that are happening specifically around Baltimore tomorrow, I want to bring on WMAR sports reporter Xavier Wary. Is he behind there, Zach?
Yep.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How we doing? Welcome on in. All right, so you're back from the Ravens facility. You're good.
I'm good, man. How are you guys doing?
Hey, we can't complain. It's Baltimore weather. It's a beautiful day today.
Yeah, and then
They'll be 48 tomorrow.
Classic.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. You know what, man? I walked out of the house this morning and it was cloudy, and I was anticipating one of those type of days. And then I leave the Ravens facility, and I'm like, the sun is shining so bright. So I just want to get back outside, man, and have a good time.
Well, hey, you know what? We'll try to keep this short and sweet, and I'm hoping at least for tomorrow that things are weather-wise cooperates, because you've had a chance to cover and talk about what's going on. And we're talking about the communities with leveling the playing field. For those that don't know, you mind explaining what's going on tomorrow here in Baltimore?
No, absolutely, man. I was a part of it last year. It was really great. So it's a nonprofit, and what they do is they get used and gently used sports equipment, and they kind of donate that to schools and organizations for kids who, may not have the opportunity to be a part of certain sports, right? Because of the cost of it all, right? I did a story recently with a coach. His name is he's Coach Boyd. He is a part of Harlem Lacrosse at Ace Middle School. And, that is a sport that costs a lot of money when you kind of tally up all of the gear that you have to have, right? So he's able to go in there, shop free of charge, get helmets, get sticks, get goggles, all that good stuff, man, free. And he was able to distribute that out to kids who, again, would not normally have a chance to play lacrosse. I spoke to some parents out there. They were like, listen, when my kid first brought the idea of playing lacrosse, I said, I'm not going to be able to do it, son, because of how much it costs. And then the kid's like, well, hey, listen, just talk to the coach. He has a plan. And of course, that plan was alleviating the financial stress to a lot of parents, man. And so it's just a really neat thing. You can come out to Meadowwood Regional Park tomorrow from 9 to 6 and just donate whatever you have. Even if you don't think that it's useful, just bring it out there anyway. And someone is going to find a use for it, I guarantee you.
Talking right now, Xavier Wary of WMAR Sports Reporter. And we're talking about leveling the playing field. And tomorrow it is going to be, I believe, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Meadowwood Park is where it's all going down.
Yeah.
And Xavier, I love this whole situation and what level of playing field brings, because of one of those stories you just mentioned. And maybe because of my baseball background and being in the minor leagues. And actually, Zach, we had Omar Vizquel on, former baseball great, and he's in Venezuela. And he talks about he's trying to help with kids in clinics that are less fortunate, and maybe equipment's too much. They don't have the resources to help out. Here's an opportunity to make an impact and to really give, I won't even say even hope, but I would say hope. I would use that word, but it gives someone even more positivity around what they want. And also sports can really help group individuals as they move forward in their life.
Guys, look, clearly you all love sports, right? I love sports. You should never be denied sports, in my opinion, because it costs too much to play, especially at a young age, because of what that can do for you moving forward in life, right? Many people believe that sports is the greatest metaphor for life. So I just feel like a lot of kids should have that opportunity to play it. Now, whether you're good or not, that's a different story, but you should at least have that opportunity to try it out. You know what I mean? And again, like, you got city kids, man, who are taking part in lacrosse, and they would have never even come anywhere near that if it weren't for opportunities like leveling the playing field. And it's not just lacrosse, right? Any sport that you can think of: basketball, football, baseball, golf. That was a huge one last year. A lot of golf clubs were donated. So, this is just a really, really nice moment for the city of Baltimore, and just for anybody who's interested in doing it, man. We just really want to welcome you out to come out to Meadowwood Regional Park tomorrow, because you can really change somebody's life with a simple donation. A donation, as corny as that may sound, you can really change somebody's life with it.
Really can. It just takes, we talk about like a one act of kindness, right? This can be one object that you might be done using. You might have no use to it, but to someone else, it could mean everything. It could be that jump start, or like I said, it could be the one thing that puts a smile on someone's face. And I love that. And also, you know what, Xavier, so many people, and this is outside here, every time I go outside of Baltimore, they're going, oh, is everything, Baltimore okay? I go, what are you talking about, by the way? Baltimore, also from Baltimore, there's so many great activities. People want to help the community. This is another prime example of that. And I mean, what are other ways then, say people can't get out tomorrow? What are other ways that people can specifically donate if they want to donate to the cause?
I think the best thing to do would be to start off by joining our website, or by visiting our website, WMAR2news.com, and you can find out more information there. But leveling the playing field, they have this warehouse, right? So it doesn't just have to be tomorrow. We encourage you, of course, to do it tomorrow. But if you can't come out tomorrow, I would just say find out where their warehouse is, and you can just bring stuff by. I mean, you got volunteers who are relentlessly going through that stuff, separating it, organizing it, and making sure that these coaches, these schools, these organizations, they are all aware, right? So they know about it. And it's more than just a Wednesday thing tomorrow, right? This is something that happens year round. Donate as much as you can. And look, we hoard a lot of things, right? Go check in your attics, your basements, your closets. You have something, I'm sure, that is not of use anymore. And just whenever you get some free time, even if it's not tomorrow, bring it by leveling the playing field, their warehouse. And just kind of go from there, man. It's also really, really easy.
Yeah, it's simple. It's simple. And for anyone there of our community, if you have any questions, obviously can contact us, but go to the WMAR website as well. And I believe if you're looking for the actual website for Leveling the Playing Field, I think it is just levelingtheplayingfield.org, if I'm not mistaken. I think I got that right. I think it sounds right.
Sounds right to me too.
It sounds right to me. Hey, I had a personal question now. Have you had the fortune or misfortune of spending time around a certain Rocco DeSangro?
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking that he was going to be on here today. We got some Huntsville, Alabama ties, man.
I heard, and everyone now perked up. I know, Kevin, it's hard to believe Rocco had a friend.
Yeah.
And he does, he does, he has to work right now, Xavier, but
Okay.
you got any fun moments from down in Huntsville that you can share?
Oh, man, that's a good one, man. We didn't spend too much time together. I was working in news when he was doing sports. But I would just say just kind of that banter that you just put on display about him. Like, that's how a lot of the friends down there would, talk about Rocco. Like, oh, he has friends. Like, I can't believe Rocco has friends or he knows people, or just always giving him a hard time. No matter who it is, everyone's always giving Rocco a hard time, man. So I like to see that's travel with him from Huntsville up here to Baltimore.
I love that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I can't wait to just have that clipped and just say, hey, Rocco, this travels state to state, place to place. You can't escape it. We all like him.
Yeah.
Sort of.
To an extent.
I guarantee you too, Xavier, he's going to watch this back and he might message you and he's going to say a few choice words to me. He's like, you guys really think that way about me? Like, of course, we love you, man. But yeah, we got it. When also we're down here, we got to get you down here to the studio sometime. You're not that far away from us. We'd love to show you. And in the future, if you have more of these types of events, we'd love to have you down here and we can even promote more. But could you do me a favor then after this or after tomorrow? Do you mind sending me some photos so we can continue to promote and push out what's going on?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I do want to thank you for having me as well. So nice to meet you guys. And yeah, let's definitely stay in touch, and can't wait to get out there and see the studio in person, man.
Perfect. And you know what? You can test your, we got it blocked off because I got the breakdown, but we got a pool table. We are getting a Papa shot. Woo. And we got a little putting green action. So we can test your skill set on a few things.
Oh, that's the place to be. All right. I like it.
Exactly. We're trying to make it in. We're trying to make this fun about the community. So Xavier, I appreciate you taking time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Go enjoy being outside since it's so beautiful. And I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, appreciate it, fellas. Y'all have a good one. All right.
Thanks, Xavier.
Appreciate you, Xavier.
Xavier Wary. And again, that's a new segment we're going to have about people helping people. And Xavier is one of those guys in WMAR of people helping people. Leveling the Playing Field is just one of the examples around Baltimore and around many places in Maryland and hell, even the country, that are trying to make a difference for the next generation. So little things like that. We're going to have more details. We're going to get photos then tomorrow, let you know how everything has gone, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Hey, so we appreciate you guys. And if you're new to the channel here, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We are live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube and X. But we post a lot on Instagram. You can get the audio right after the show ends later this evening. And that is on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. And do us a huge favor. If you like it on YouTube, review us on the audio platforms. We're trying to reach more people. Obviously, we got a great audience so far in community. We're trying to extend it even further. And we've even extended a couple members or one member right now.
We got Jacob.
Hey now.
Appreciate you, Jacob. Way to keep clapping. And then John for 1 month.
1 month. And what's up, fellas? Hopefully we get some pitching soon.
I agree. Maybe helps on the way with Gibby. Maybe that's where the pitching comes from.
Gibby, good guy, good kid. But overall, we appreciate each and every one of you guys. And I apologize again for the Holy Shirts and Parents. I got the emails that you sent. I'm organizing it out. We only got so much of us, but for being a Holy Shirts and Pants member, and we haven't given out any of our memorabilia yet of those shirts. Those are fine. It's coming to you soon. And Josiah, if you're still on here, you won the Lonnie Baxter basketball. So that's going to be coming your way. And we're going to have more opportunities for people to win. So stay tuned. Guys, let's jump back into some baseball now. So we finished up with this conversation on identity lists. Every team needs to kind of figure shit out. That's just, essentially what I have in my notes right here. Just you got to figure it out and figure out what type of team you're going to be. You don't have to figure that out on April 15th. But one thing that actually, before we hopped on the show, saw this clip pop up, Zach.
Yeah.
And maybe this would resonate with Orioles fans. I know, Kevin, this is a league-wide thing. And you haven't seen this clip yet, so I'm curious on your opinion, Kevin.
I get an instant reaction.
Oh, yeah. But Uncle Bill actually was breaking down and talking about how MLB has changed and the quote-unquote utility man has a different function now. Almost multiple people are utility men. You try to optimize rosters. Well, my Uncle Bill doesn't necessarily agree with that factor. So it's a 2-minute clip. I want you guys to listen to this, and we're going to talk about it on the other side. Zach, play it for us.
Play in center field, because I know you're not one of those guys that thinks everybody can play anywhere.
I do not think things are interchangeable. And I think sometimes when these new front offices think in a way where we have all these moving parts, I don't think it necessarily works that way. Jorge Mateo is a shortstop. And it's sun in your eyes. I get it. I see it. But the ball will have a way to find you. And the terminology that's used by front offices nowadays is, well, he's athletic, he can do it. If you played the infield your whole life, you've never been out to the pasture in the outfield. Never. And all of a sudden, here's an idea. Let's learn how to play the outfield at the big league level. Jose Altuve, Mr. Astro, right? World Series champion. This is in spring training. There's just something not quite right about going out to the pasture and playing. Jazz Chisholm with the Marlins, who did they move him to center for? Oh, you can't play in here. Who? We got this kid we want you to move for. Who is that? We don't know. This push and play, and I'm not even close to coming down on these players. That is not my thing.
Understood.
In yesteryear's game, you had a utility player. You had a second utility player that they were pretty much kind of in the infield. Mm-hmm. And then you had a fourth and fifth outfielder. What's wrong with that configuration? The fourth and fifth outfielder have played outfield their whole life. And these matchups, and we're going to get this little edge, and this is what we can do. How about stop and run scoring? Because there's no way in the world you can convince me, you can show me every metric, every number, every thought process that goes into it. You cannot put your best defensive team on the field by having rotating pieces constantly.
Interesting. And the reason why, so Kevin, yeah, how about that, right? So I'm going to get your opinion here in a second. But this is a conversation that I know in Baltimore people have a feeling towards. But this is a Major League Baseball conversation. It's around the league. And the other players that you saw in that clip, Jazz, who is now back to the infield for the Yankees.
Yep.
You have O'Neal Cruz, who was a shortstop, being put out in center field. Obviously, then the Orioles putting Jorge Mateo in center field is one of those cases.
Yes, it is.
When you move guys out of positions, out of a certain area, it's already hard enough. Putting them in something else that they don't have reps on, like Jose Altuve, just all of a sudden never played left field and you're putting them out there. Some guys might be able to flip the switch, and a lot of guys aren't. Like, I'd say Mookie Betts is one of the few players that I could say, hey, Mookie, go play anywhere, and you'll figure it out. Let's put another one that people don't think about. Cody Bellinger played first base, could play center field. There's certain dynamic of a player that can do that. But those other examples, it is extremely hard, and also it can be costly. And I think that's the part where I'm looking at this whole scenario. And Kevin, the reason why I wanted your reaction on it, that is something that I know, at least in Baltimore, that is something that they preach. Jorge Mateo, people know how athletically gifted he is. But center field is not his first position or second position. It's his third or fourth when you really think about it.
Every team at points tries to get too cute, and that can show itself in a lot of different ways. This is one of the main examples we have seen so far this season, and you can honestly go back as far as you want to here. It's just getting too cute with things. I mean, I completely agree with everything where it's like you might think because a guy is athletic or has speed or, has a certain tool or a trait, oh, you can play him in a bunch of different positions. And, that might work in different sports. But for baseball, there's a difference between being a utility guy on the infield and being able to play second, short, and third, and the ability to play second, short, and third and go out to center field. Only a few guys can do it, but everybody wants that guy. Everybody wants their Mookie, and you can go back as far as you want to with different examples of guys who have done it before. So I think that, especially if you want to relate it back to the Orioles, that they have enough. And I know with Cowser being down, it's difficult and trying to find ways to preserve guys, which again, it's early in the season. So, how much do you want to preserve a guy right now? But even still, it's a matter of making sure you put your best guys out there. And in a case like Jorge, where he, I think, literally cost the Orioles a shot to win that game, because if he makes that play, I don't like living in the reality in the world of everything is the same if one play doesn't happen, because again, it changes the outcome of what goes on. But you need to be able to, I think, whether it be as a team and whoever these decisions fall on, manager, GM, analytics department, whatever it is, just play the guys that can play the positions. Like, that's what it is.
And one thing, Zach, before I switch it over to you, the thing for me with guys is that it puts even more pressure and stress on those other players like Jorge Mateo, because he's being asked to go in a position that from the jump, that he wasn't comfortable. It's not because that they're not working on it, but being in the big leagues, how do you get there? It's reps, constant reps over and over and over again. And utility players, when you come up through the system, where that's why when I mentioned Ramon Arias, it's hard to have a guy you can say, hey, you're not going to play for 7 days. If we don't need you, we don't need you. On top of it, though, can you play multiple positions in the infield? And Ramon technically can play every position in the infield.
Yeah.
He's not going to put him at short, but they can. But he plays first, second, third. That helps. That's a good part of it. And I see some comments about Hyde. Zach, this isn't about a manager making a decision on this. We're looking around baseball. This is other organizations trying to optimize their lineups, because that's where this conversation goes. It's not all necessarily of saying, hey, he's the best fit to play that position. They're going off the matchups and going, well, how do we get the most out of this lineup? I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's where the conversation goes.
It is the most counterproductive thing in the game of baseball right now, because like you said, it is an attempt to maximize the potential of a lineup. So let's bring up the Orioles, because that's where everyone's going to go with this. Jorge Mateo playing center field so that you can get his right-handed bat in versus a lefty. Okay, Jorge athletic, all that stuff. Yes, the intangibles, you're like, okay, he can play center field. He is clearly not comfortable in center field. We saw Jose Altuve, one of the best second basemen there is, looks completely lost, looks honestly like I would look if you stuck me in left field at times this spring training, kicking the ball, across the field, completely whiffing on it, missing stuff. He looks like I did. I would. But it's so counterproductive, because the whole point of it is, okay, we're going to give a little up maybe defensively with Jorge in center field because he bats really well against lefties. He's going to rake these lefties. He's going to improve the lineup. Well, Ryan, you can talk about this as well as anyone. When a baseball player is not comfortable in the field and you have those kind of, you're uncomfortable. Okay, now you're really focused on, I need to make sure I'm playing the field well. And all your focus is, hey, I got to make sure I'm playing this position well that I don't really play, that I haven't had success playing or played for a long period of time. You're not necessarily feeling the most confident or focused on batting. When you go up to bat, we see so many guys where we talk about players when we're like, hey, when they can just get into a routine, whether they're going to DH, play first, catch, whatever it is. And you're like, we get them in a routine. when you're throwing the guys around the infield, the outfield, they're playing positions that they don't normally play. When they go up to bat in the position where you're like, well, we put them in there so that their bat could be in the lineup, they're thinking about, as much as they'll say, I'm not trying to think about it, I'm trying to focus on the at bat. There's still all the uncomfortableness of, hey, I'm playing this new position. I'm trying to figure that out. So it's not helping you at the plate because now you got a guy up there thinking about other things besides being in the moment at the plate.
And one thing, you're right, that I like to preach. Baseball players are creatures of habit. I mean, everybody's a creature of habit. We all have the things that make us go, and we have our routines. We do it over and over again. You want to get better at something? Typically, you might have that growth mindset and try to figure out how to get better, but it's constant reps at what you want to do. Baseball's the same way. And when you have to then take different variations of reps in different places, that's a hard thing to do. And like I said at the beginning of the segment, not everyone can do this, ladies and gentlemen. It's not that easy. It's easy to just say, why can't you do that? But imagine when you're doing thousands and thousands and thousands of reps in the minors at any level, and then being
be weirder on the field when we come to Baltimore, just because, like I said, it's the guys that you came up playing with. You know, be weirder on the field when we come to Baltimore, just because, like I said, it's the guys that you came up playing with. You know, guys that you shared a clubhouse with. I've never experienced that type of on field. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna feel like, you know, inter squads. Like if I was talking to Rutch about this the other day. Like, is it like I'm gonna look at him and see him catching? I'm like, this is just like live at bats, like that we've done, you know, countless times. I don't know. It's gonna be weird, but it's gonna be really cool. I love playing at Camden. I think it's a great ballpark, and I just love the way the city rallies behind the team. So I'm excited to get there, even though you know, I'll be trying to beat you guys, and then you guys will be trying to beat us. But it'll be a lot of fun.
So that clip right there, sorry for the technical difficulties, but that was Kyle Stowers while we were out of it for a second of what it's like coming back to play Baltimore. Also, Kyle's love for the Orioles in the city. You love to hear that from a player.
Yeah.
And especially he acknowledges how much that organization gave him a chance. It's bittersweet, but it's the best thing for his career. We've done a lot of great interviews. That's another fantastic interview with Kyle Stowers. We're dropping that tonight.
I will go as far to say, if we want to go on relatability, Kyle Stowers was probably our best one. Just over, and I'm talking overall, because that was an interview we had talked to him for about 20-ish minutes, a little over. The entire time, you just, not once did it feel like we were interviewing someone. It felt like you were sitting down and just talking to a friend, and that's what made it so cool.
No, it was great. And Stowie was my teammate in 2021 for the second half of the season, and genuine dude. And I hope the best for him. We have that interview dropping fully tonight, but also we're sorry for the technical difficulties, but to close out that last point that we were having about the positional changes, guys, Kev, the reality is players get comfortable being in one place, and not everyone can do multiple positions. And quite frankly, I would like to see a little bit more consistency even for certain lineups. I like the fact that they, for the most part, are putting Jordan Westberg at third base. And if he's not playing third, he DHs a little bit of second. You know where Gunner's going to be every single time. You know where Cedric Mullins is going to be when he's out playing in the field. I think it would benefit some of the other players like a Jackson to learn and have the growing pains. I think it just makes it cleaner when you do it that way. And it takes pressure off those guys that aren't used to it. Especially, I don't know the full construction for the Pirates, but with O'Neal Cruz, you want to make that choice. You got to live with it. But in Baltimore, you have other options. And I think it's just fair for Jorge Mateo. I'd much rather him focus on, hey, be the best infielder you can be when we need you. And we'll have somebody else, because there's a lot of capable outfielders out there that can play the position.
Yeah, and then last thing I'll make, or a statement, is actually just using Jackson Holiday as an example. We're talking moving infield to outfield. Jackson just simply moved from shortstop to second, and we see this year, now that he has reps there and spent all his time working on there, one, the comfortability. He looks like a Gold Glover out there. He's playing, honestly, probably the best defense of anyone in the infield, and it's also helping him at the plate. But we saw last year when he first was getting reps at second base, I mean, there were times where to start last year, ball was hit near Jackson, you're like, oh gosh, just knock it down. Like, don't let it eat you up. You know, it takes so long to get comfortable in that position. That's just going shortstop to second. I mean, shortstop to outfield is completely different. So I think it helps everyone if you're able to just kind of keep that steady, you know, okay, you're going to play these positions that you're comfortable with. I think it helps the team overall.
No doubt about it. Again, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We are live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And while we transition to a couple of other topics here, and I want to get ready for the breakdowns, but before we get into the breakdowns, we should, though, get into, Zach, sit there for a second. You're good, because this involves you. Because why don't we take a quick trip up to Charlestown Races and visit our friends at Hollywood Casino in West Virginia. Nailed it. And look, our friends up at Hollywood Casino, Charlestown Races in West Virginia, we'll be back up there soon. They are great friends and sponsor of the Ryan Ripken Show. We appreciate them. But Zach, sometimes it doesn't go your way when you have some bets in, and apparently you had a bad beat last night.
Yeah. Dylan Cease over 17 and a half outs recorded. So going 6 innings. I'm going to be honest. He flew through the first 2, was sitting there. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Fantastic. Then he got roughed up. After 5 innings, was sitting at about 88 pitches. And I was like, well, that's it. We're good. You know, we're losing that one, whatever. And then it's the part of, he's just a bulldog. He's one of those, you know, old school pitchers, 88 pitches after 5. He's like, well, let me get the 6th. Goes in the 6th inning. I get the notification he's still pitching. Well, I'm like, okay, now I'm locked in. First 2 outs, like it's nothing. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're back, baby. We're back. Goes 0-2 on Pete Crow Armstrong, who's not the greatest hitter. Very fast, very great defensive player, not the best hitter. Pete Crow Armstrong got this ball that was about to hit the dirt and flicked it over the shortstop's head for a quick single. And I'm like, awesome. Why is Dylan Cease walking towards the dugout? That was his last batter. So 17 and a half outs needed. We got 17, and Pete Crow Armstrong with one of the biggest. I got fooled looking for a fastball. Let me just poke my bat at the ground and hope for something. Ball over the shortstop was the difference there. So just a brutal one.
As Champ Kind would say, whammy. You were close. And who is Champ Kind, and what movie is he in, Kevin?
Austin Powers. Anchorman.
There we go.
I was going to say.
One for
First
two.
try.
One for two.
First try.
Well, Zach, the beauty of it is you can get right back on the horse. What's your bet you got going in for baseball tonight?
I'm going to go long ball. Dinger Tuesday. We're going Juan Soto. I'm feeling Juan Soto. He has actually, I believe they're facing Ober and Bailey Ober. He has let me look at the career real fast. Batting career 500 with 1,000 slugging percentage off Ober. I just think it's one of those things. Juan's going to go long ball tonight. I'm feeling it.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling
22.
22.
wow.
I'm on a roll. First try every time.
Top Gun Kevin over there is locked in.
Yeah, or
so
one-eyed Kevin.
that is also, we will get back to that story in a little bit. But you heard it here first. Juan Soto is
baby.
Zach's pick for tonight. And hey, look, if you are interested and you are in the West Virginia area or you're in the ESPN.
What about my pick?
Oh, you had a pick?
Yeah, I had a pick.
Who is it?
Gary Sanchez.
If this happens,
It's going to happen now because
Just for vibes.
he's going deep tonight.
God damn, he's so going deep.
Gary
almost,
Sanchez, get ready to clip this up. And you're going to wish you put
Let's
that
go.
in.
Come on.
And Gary Sanchez, now I'm going to have to check the odds on this.
I am seeing odds from just overall. Gary Sanchez is. He actually, okay, funny enough, it's the third best odds to hit a long ball at plus 500.
I
Wow.
might be onto something.
If Gary goes long ball tonight, I swear.
Yeah. I am known for being awful with this, but I think tonight's the night that it turns around.
Kevin, I'm letting you know I am. Solely because I refuse to have this moment happen and me not capitalize on it.
It's
I'm throwing money on Gary now.
It is happening. You guys be ready. It is going down. Kevin is about to cash in with a Gary Sanchez home run. And you guys can cash in with Hollywood Casino and ESPN Bet. And if you're interested and you're just starting off, it's in the photos. In the photos, Ryan. Okay.
Over under.
Over, under.
Always under.
Oh, I was looking for a video and you have the image file now.
Yep.
Such a classic mistake. But right there, if you bet online and you will get $100 in pen cash, you sign up for the ESPN Bet app to receive your first 50. You make a deposit to get your next 50 and use the code then 50 pen 50 and whammy. That's how it goes. When I move, you move.
Just like that.
But you must be 21 or older. If you got a gambling problem, call Rocco DeSangro and then call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yeah. You know, you know what? One of the things I remember doing when it was more like high school, college for me is, I know, Zach, I think we've talked about this, but the Beat the Street game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would do that. I haven't done it in like 5 years. I got to like 30, like high 30s one time. I want to start doing it again. And I think that a fun thing to do would be to read out my picks. MLB, because there was an app, but then they took away the app, and I think you have to do it on just the website now.
Yep.
Yeah, I have to download on the. All right. So I'm just kind of like brute forcing my way into a segment here, but like it's kind of happening.
I like it, Kevin. Woo!
So
Assertiveness. Top Gun Kevin, man. And all things change for him.
The glasses just give, the confidence, I guess.
That's
how it goes,
one way
All
we
right.
can describe it.
I guess this is now the Kevin Ostrecker show. Congratulations,
Okay.
Ryan. You've been demoted.
And this is where we draw the line here.
Yep,
and when you cross the line, your nuts are mine. Let's
Wow.
get into that's a movie reference. Let's calm down here.
Okay,
Let's
sure.
calm down.
All
No
right.
way you've seen Starsky and Hutch with the Owen Wilson, Ben Stiller version.
No, but I have seen.
Don't say like Air Bud.
I actually have not seen Air Bud.
Okay.
Doesn't surprise me.
All right, we're gonna
I've
get to this
seen
breakdown.
What's the bird movie? Big Year. Owen Wilson.
Okay, we're gonna get to the breakdown now, and specifically, it's around Umpire. So if I can get the, toss me the, throw it.
I don't throw it. Are we?
Yeah, we're tossing it. Do you not have faith in my catching ability?
Did you play baseball or something?
I did.
Yeah.
What? It doesn't look like I'm still in shape, Kevin. Doesn't look like
I could do some 10-pound curls right now.
that. Just wait. We're gonna get that going here in a moment. Should be synced up already.
Yeah,
Yep.
we tested it.
According to Kevin's ears, his ears work.
Yes.
One of his eyes does
One
not.
of my eyes it doesn't.
Red 7. Red 7. Hot route. Oh, good. Good.
Nice.
Said HUD. All right. I'm going to move on over to I can't hear. Oh, there we go. Oh, hey now. Hey now. Man, when I move, you move. Can you hear me okay? Or should I move it around a little bit? Is this better? You tell me, Kevin. Is it loud enough? Oh, you don't want to listen to me either?
I had my headphones are.
That's messed up, Kevin. Well, maybe I'll just hold on to this for a second here. Let me see which one works better. Oh, there it is. Kevin Oestreicher and everyone here. 1 second.
Hello. Yeah, I can't. Okay. Oh. Okay. Well, okay. We're back to my beat the streak segment. Okay. So essentially, for those that don't know, beat the streak.
Well, you don't have to talk so loud. I mean, we can just still have a conversation. But what do you want to do with your beat the streak?
I want to beat the streak. Is that too hard?
I took you as more of a guy that wanted to, have fun for 3 times in a row and then lose.
No. Well, that's okay. How it works is Joe DiMaggio holds the MLB record for most consecutive hits, or I guess hitting streak, 56 games. So what this is, for those that don't know, is if you correctly pick a player to hit in 56 straight games, so each day you can pick 1 or 2 players and you get it to 56, you win $5.6 million, I believe is although before taxes. So
well, then I don't want to do it.
Well, you know what? I'll still do it for the content. So I'm going to download the MLB app. I actually think I have it. I just don't know. I would sweat out. One of the best picks I had actually consistently was Trey Mancini back in the day.
Hey, Trey's off to a hot start here.
Trey, Jose Altuve was another one that I would pick pretty consistently. I think those were my 2 go-tos. But again, I got up to high 30s. So let me download. Let me get it real quick.
Okay. I think we're ready.
Okay. Well, I will get it.
We'll get
I need to update my iOS to do this. Okay.
All right. I think we're good.
We're good. I think it's better if I hold it up like this today because I can't seem to get a good grip. Might be the shirt that I'm wearing where I'm not getting a good grip on it. But hey, welcome into this breakdown here on the Ryan Ripken Show, brought to you by our friends over at Merit Clubs here. And look, umpires have always been a conversation, but specifically, they've been talked about even more. And we've talked about the ABS systems are on the way. But I want to explain, one, how calls can actually dictate games, but also, 2, when a strike zone is a certain way, at least for this first part of the video, of you're going to have to adjust to what that umpire zone is, whether it's right or in this case, it was wrong. So you guys watched that game against the Toronto Blue Jays, the finale. The Orioles dropped that game, but throughout the game, really rough go behind the plate and a lot of calls going against the Baltimore Orioles here. And a lot went against Jordan Westburg right here. And you're going to see he's going to get called out on the strike 3 pitch, which if we slow it down here, it's well inside, very inside. And you guessed it, he's getting rung up for strike 3. And that's a really hard thing. That's the first at bat for Jordan. You're going, damn, that's way inside. Is it going to be that type of day? Maybe he just missed the call. Now, the problem is his next at bat, he's thinking maybe he just missed 1 pitch. Well, the reality is Jordan's going to get called out on a 3-2 pitch down here. Would have been ball 4, and it would have been first and second for the O's with 1 out, and they were in motion. And there's Kevin Oestreicher right there. Just kidding. That's bacon. And there's a lot of moments, and Brandon Hyde's pissed off, and he's saying a few words like, hey, I think you're a nice guy, but I really hate your zone. It's probably what the paraphrase was. But here's the problem now. So once you notice early on that there's going to be a problem and it's going to be consistently bad, you're going to have to be ready. But you're going to see some of these pitches here. You saw in Mountie. It's low. That's another strike. Oh. Cedric Mullins right here. You're going to get this pitch away. I'm trying to have this down. I apologize. It's away. Ball again. So as a player, what you hate the most is a wide zone. And part of it, though, that I'll say, and I'll go back to this in a minute, is consistently he's calling these pitches. And I mean consistently, except that one's low. But really, if we're going to extend this, and this is the strike zone, everything out here, right, he's consistently calling all the way up, as we just saw. And that's a good few inches off the plate. That's a really hard thing for players to be able to deal with. But on days and zones, you're going to have to live with it. But with less than 2 strikes, you don't have to worry about it just as much. But with 2 strikes, you're going to have to be a little bit more understanding. So in this case, pitches outside, Tyler O'Neill doesn't even come back over the part of the plate. I feel bad for him because it is a problem. And in this case, we'll get to this game in just 1 second. But where I'm going with this is that these calls can dictate the games. And usually how you combat that is if you know the zone's going to be bad, well, then you're going to have to swing at the pitches that are maybe borderline and you know are balls. But if that's that strike zone that day, you got to be ready to swing it. In this case, though, for Westy, he gets screwed over in the first at bat. If it's a second at bat, though, and you think that it's going to be that type of day, I'm going to have a hard time taking that pitch. But like I said, Westy was hoping that Bacon just was having an off day. But this is happening all throughout baseball here. And as we go to the next game, it happened the other night against the Phillies and the Giants. 3-2 count, first and second. Phillies are trailing by 4. This is a huge part of the game because this pitch, if you can see, this is the edge of the strike zone here. This ball is going to be way out here. And JT is very calm, usually handles himself very well and under control. He loses it on that, and he should, because that gets him out of the inning, and that kills all momentum for the Philadelphia Phillies. And just to give you guys an outlook on those pitches for that at bat, the third strike or third pitch is in the zone, pitch 6 and pitch 1 out of the zone, and obviously those are so low, they got to be called balls. But where this discussion goes, yes, players need to execute, and you can't blame an umpire for how an outcome is if you miss your opportunities. But having said that, though, you get an extra opportunity, another guy on to keep a rally alive or be able to tack on runs. It's going to make a difference. And in this case right now, for what we just saw, hurt the Orioles early. I believe on the day the Orioles had 17 calls that didn't go their way, that were missed calls. And in this case for the Philadelphia Phillies, 7th inning game trying to make a comeback, and you can pass the baton along. It's going to be continued conversation with the ABS system, and it's not a perfect system, but when calls are missed so egregiously on certain cases, they can dictate outcomes, and that's something that players, fans don't want to see. So we'll figure that out as we go, but we have to talk about it. But in general, if you know a guy's got a bad zone typically, you just got to put up with it. And also, you might have to stick your ass out there and make a play. But that's all I got for this. If you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Boom! You see that leg kick? You get up there?
I did. That was impressive.
Kevin, you see that?
I did. Sorry,
Can you get up there?
Oh yeah.
Boom! And we'll shake it on in
I did.
there.
I did karate. I know. My.
Oh,
And I'm going to plug that back in.
Don't
worry about me. It's like it's my first time.
It's just incredible. Kevin, camera's on you.
Oh.
No, you're good. I got it. We're good. Zach, you can stay there.
Well, then you can play this back and see my very disappointed look at you when you unplugged. But okay, beat the streak day 1. I have officially logged in. We're officially on the board. Zach, I'm tailing your Juan Soto pick. And then I'm also, because you have a chance if you want to do 2 to get your streak up with another guy, you can. I'm going Josh Young.
Ooh, I like it. When he's healthy, dude. When he's healthy.
Kikuchi's had a rough start to the year. Young is 2 for 4. Or no, 1 for 4 off of him in his career. But I feel good about Soto. not feeling as confident in Josh Young, but you know what?
But you know what, Kevin? I like that you're just.
So this is day one. We are on a quest to win $5.6 million. And we're going to do it right here.
I love it, Kevin.
This is also how I start my TikTok career, by the way. Because I'm going to go day one. So be sure to follow along on a TikTok journey, because when we hit 56.
So should we do that each time?
Of my beat the streak.
Like,
yeah.
should we do it on day one of the streak here for the Ryan Ripken
I'm
show?
going to do it every day, because I mean, some days we're not going to have the show. So
you're just going to do it.
Yeah.
You're going to go off. You're off locked on Kevin. It's just going to be.
Yeah. Just me.
That's terrifying in so many different ways, but I'm excited. So Josh Young, he's in there. Counted
in there, and he's on a tear to start the year.
Yeah,
so.
Whenever he's healthy, he plays well. Unfortunately for him, he just has freak injuries.
Yeah.
Freaky injuries. Yes, he does. Talented player, Texas Rangers, talented team, but very interesting start for them. And actually, guys, since we're talking a little bit baseball, we still are. And then we'll take a quick moment just to go around some other things that are happening around the sports world that I think we should talk about. But that Texas Rangers team, and you're talking about Josh Young, do you want to guess their run differential on the season?
Which team?
The Texas Rangers.
Rangers run differential?
And they're 9-7.
Probably -2.
How about -19?
Wow. Okay. I had it right in the negatives, but
right?
Not that much.
Yankees 9-7 +21. Blue Jays 9-8 -1. Tampa Bay, and thanks to the Boston Red Sox for that shellacking that they took last night. Tampa then up their differential to +18. They're 8-8. Kansas City 8-9 -11. The Baltimore Orioles at 6-9. What do you think their run differential is?
They're probably +30.
No.
What?
Okay, I'm going to say
I'm
say +11.
What are you saying?
+11.
They are -6 at 6-9.
Well, go big or go home.
Well,
+30, Kevin.
Feels like they score 10 runs and then 10 runs and then they have like
that.
5 games of 0. I'm giving credit to the bullpen. That's why.
Thank you, Kevin.
You know what? When the Orioles have a +30 run differential later in the year, I don't want to hear anybody talk about it, because that'll be my moment.
I hope that they're not 3 games under 500 and +30. That would be remarkably infuriating for many fans if that was the case. But we'll find out here. Any team that has a positive run differential right now in baseball, actually, every team except the Rockies is in the plus. The Rockies are a league worst -46. How about that? And the Chicago Cubs are a league best +37. Right behind them is the San Diego Padres, home of the Holy Sheets, Gavin Sheets. Just needed Gavin to get it going over there. Well, guys, we're going to continue on here with our coverage on sports, but we want to go around. It's kind of like what Zach found on the internet today as well. Also, Joe S., what's up, dude? Met Joe at the stadium. Came to say what's up.
Nice.
Hates Kevin.
I love that.
So do a lot of other
Just
people.
kidding. Just Rocco.
Said I wouldn't have blamed you.
But that it was great getting to meet him. If you're at the ballpark, come say what's up. I'll be at Pickles tonight doing pregame from 6 to 7, I believe. Should double check on that, shouldn't I? But 6 to 7 for 105.7 The Fan here. And I am excited about it. Excited. But Zach, got a few things around the internet world that we should kind of talk about, don't you think?
I think so.
So why don't we take a quick trip on your internet browsing history here on what you've noticed. And actually, the first one might have been, if we were watching the Masters and Rory obviously having his moment with that. I'm assuming you didn't bet Rory, or you did?
I tried to talk him into it.
All right.
He
So
wouldn't do it.
actually made money because some of us are smart. Actually did very well in the Masters. If you followed my plays I gave here, the parlay, Max Homa laddering up to top 10, finished 12, one stroke behind top 10. We would have made out really well, guys. You actually made a lot of money. The parlay hit at plus 600. The Max Homa got into the top 20, but I actually had a Justin Rose to win it all bet future, and
Wow.
at 16 when Justin Rose took the lead, I had this feeling that Rory was going to win, and I cashed out for like 6 times my money, and then Rory ended up winning. So got to cheer for Rory and got the benefit.
All
Which
right.
let me tell you something. When Rory missed that putt to win it, I was sitting there going, "Oh my gosh, I cashed that out just for Rory to do what he's done every other time."
When did you put the future in?
I got Justin Rose on Friday midday. So once he had started to fall behind, I got him at
So
plus.
you probably got pretty good odds.
Yeah, I got him at plus 1100.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
but so pretty good day all around for
And side note, was that one of the best Masters finishes
Storybook.
it was genuinely
in a while?
It genuinely was one of those where it just everything about it was so, especially if you know the story of Rory McIlroy, you understand everything he's been through and all the times he's come up just short. For him to go into the back, the final day, he's got the lead, and the whole world is just like, Rory can't choke this. And he starts off well. Then you're starting to, in the back of your head, you're like, oh my gosh, Rory's blowing this. He falls down big time. I think at one point he had +3 on 2 straight holes. So you're sitting there and you're like, oh my gosh, Rory's doing it again. He's going to blow it. Comes back, takes the lead, has the putt for the Grand Slam, the career Grand Slam, misses it. And you're just sitting there and you're like, it's happening again. Like Rory, all he had to do was avoid the bunker on 18 and he wins the Masters. And you're like, it's going to happen again. And I think that's what made it better for him, in the long run, because he fought all those demons of, Rory's going to do it again. He's going to choke again in the last moment. He's got the opportunity. This is the Open all over again. And then he gets to the playoff, and it might have only been a 3-foot putt, but I'm telling you, that probably felt like, I bet that ball in Rory's mind, it took about 1.5 seconds to get from his, putter into the hole. It probably felt like it took 10 years in his mind.
I think with golf specifically, it's a moment where I forget who I saw part of this was, where you have to really control your emotions in a sport where you have to be so precise constantly. But there's a wave that you have to endure. And on Sunday for Rory, the pinnacle high that you have a good lead, and all of a sudden, well, you make one wrong shot and then your heart sinks. And you can brush it off, which he did, but deep down, you're trying to get over that hump, and then you battle back. And then you miss it. Then you have this, well, what if? Am I doing this again? And then to see the beauty of what the Masters is, that moment, everyone's surrounding him, and finally to sink that putt, I thought that was goosebumps moments for me, to watch someone be able to go through that and to be able to experience something that he has dreamed of for years, and he thought for the longest time he wasn't going to get it. The greatest, that's why I love doing the Legends interviews that we do. And we just dropped the one with Larry Walker, Kev. And Larry talked about, he never thought he was going to be what he was. And he still talks about when he got the phone call to be in the Hall of Fame, the emotions of getting in. Because I didn't think that this was possible. For Rory, you started to believe after a while that it never was going to happen. Then he freaking sticks it and sinks it in the playoff, and the rest is history. But Justin Rose, shout out to him, man. Hell of a tourney. And also, Dusty, or Brooks, I did see that with Dusty. 25 to win 37 or 30,775 and cashing that out, I believe.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done right there.
It's
Awesome.
man, that was a that was a
Crazy.
and just the end of it, you see ball goes in, it's over. The immediate emotion. Rory had been stone-faced for 4 days because he knew what was at stake. He knew he couldn't get too high.
Did you see that Bryson DeChambeau didn't say he talked? Rory didn't say a word to him.
He didn't talk. They did not say a word to each other. They played 18 holes together and did not say a single word to each other. And I think it was everything. You saw the emotion. I think Jim Nantz, who once again just nailed the call.
Oh my goodness, nailed it, and then was quiet and let the moment play out. After, what was the call specifically?
Well, I remember him saying when Rory's walking off, he said it's the look of a man who had the weight of the world lifted off his shoulders as he fell to the ground.
Damn.
I mean, just Jim Nantz. I don't, give him the Masters for the rest of eternity.
It's almost done. Well, not almost done. We got some years, but you saw the Jim.
Yeah, he's
put a timeline on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny for him to be like, yeah, I'm putting a timeline. It was like 10 years out because he's like at the Masters, whatever anniversary. But actually, this goes in very well to my best thing I saw on the internet.
Oh, perfect. What do we have?
This is just one of the funniest things I've seen, and I love this so much. Let's take it back to the 1997 Masters, and Tiger Woods caddy.
Looks like he's put it on the other side of the hill.
Checking the wind with the cigarette,
ripping a heater.
That and look at this,
a dart.
If you ever want to question anything, Tiger is looking at it too. This is called you don't question greatness. If your caddy has helped you this much and he's going, we're reading the wind with cigarette smoke, you let the man do it. And I mean, I guess Tiger ended up having a decent career. So
yeah,
but look at that. That is a man locked in.
Oh,
he is.
You can tell
he is fucking locked in.
You don't get this is like the whole like analytics versus like just play the damn game like argument in baseball, where it's like you have all the analytics things saying you got to do this, maybe you got to play the wind. That is called a guy who's played golf and's been around the game, taking a puff, going, okay, so we got the wind going that way, this amount, we got to hit it this way, and getting it done.
I love the fact. Can we rewind it for a second where he's before he takes the hit? Yeah, he's pointing over there. Okay, let me get a rip.
Yep, and then the check,
and let's get a good wind check here.
He's so focused on it.
And then write down. Okay, we got the. Okay, here it is. We got it.
Boom. There it is. So that when I saw that immediately, I was like, yeah, that's going to be the best thing I've seen on the internet.
That's phenomenal. You know what? Different day and age. When we talk about all the minor league stories back then, and this is saying back then now, I guess it is 28 years ago since that moment in 97 for the Masters. But that it just hits different when you see how it was. And also just hits different on some of the styles. We need to bring some of that retro back, Kev. Like you're inspiring me with the Top Gun look. You've never even seen the movie. You don't even know what Top Gun is. You don't even know who Tom Cruise is.
Yeah, no. Yes, I do. People telling me that I look like Tom Cruise.
No, okay.
Or you got a lot of the Umpire the other day.
I know.
Yeah.
I really can't, especially with the glasses now. I really can't beat the allegations.
That hair was spot
you
on.
Do you want to pull up a side by side? Do you have a picture?
Yeah, let me find
the picture
that.
because I didn't know. Apparently, people were talking about it either in the Discord or on social media. I had no idea what people were talking about. I didn't see the resemblance at first, I guess, because sometimes when you are the person, you sometimes just like you don't see it. And then the side by side got pulled up. I wasn't wearing the glasses, and it's the hair. It's the hair that does it, and maybe the jawline. Maybe in the chin.
And maybe just botching calls.
Well, I feel like people probably thought I could have done a better job than him. Because you said the stat, it was 17 calls total missed, 14 went against the Orioles. So, yeah.
Makes you feel
all right,
good.
I have to get my head. I'm waiting for okay.
You gotta have your mouth a little bit open. Can we? Yeah.
Can we? Oh.
And then can we get the photo up with it? There. Up. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
Open. Yeah, it's there right there. You got to open the mouth a little bit.
That's incredible.
God. Kevin, if you were an umpire, I would have fucking hated you. Oh my God. I would have been nice.
So
if
extra.
you had made a bad call to me and would try to defend it though, one, I don't know if I would take it seriously, or two, I would make your life hell.
Well, something that I think about, and this goes with all sports, but you actually being in it, I'm curious.
Oh yeah.
With umpires, what was their go-to excuse? Was it was it like you're full of shit, or like I didn't, there's no way, or come on, that ball was there, like, or did they try to make up some like, come on, it really wasn't that, like, really? What was their go-to?
Each umpire has a different style. Some of the ones I think I told you, I have to check it, but the one that in spring training a couple of years ago, JT Realmuto was asking for a ball. And the umpire that was
the home plate umpire
tossed him, and it was a mistake. It was an accident. I'm pretty sure I know that umpire. I've had that umpire in the minors. He's actually a really good dude. And after, I think you saw in the video, in the words, he's like, I fucked up. And I appreciate an umpire if they can say, hey, I might have missed that one, or I fucked up. I can go back there because I'm the same way. I'll go back and look at it. And if it's a strike and I can go and look at it, I'll go up the next time and go, hey, dude, my bad. The ones that that it despises to me is if, one, you tell me what the zone's going to be. So one of my favorite things I do is I'll do this, and this is story time because we're here right now. Ryan Ripken Show, like and subscribe. But one thing I would do is if a ball's I think's off the plate, Kev, and I go we'll call him Kevin for fun. Be like, hey, Kev, is that as far as the zone's going today? Yeah, it's as far as it's going. At least I know, okay, you're calling that a strike. I don't agree with it, but at least like that's part of it. Now, if he gives me attitude to start, like, hey, is that as far as it goes? He goes, oh, that's further. Hey, that's a strike. I go, no, it's not. It's off the plate. Then you get a little bit combative. I have a problem then after it if you get called further. And I go, dude, you just said this is as far as it goes. That's another 2 or 3 inches outside. He goes, nope, it's closer. That pitch is there. And then it's like, okay, you're telling me that's there? Like Tropic Thunder, Flaming Dragon.
Yeah.
Say another words like Flaming Dragon, fuck face. That's where the conversation goes. Then it gets a little escalated. Now you can't say that to an umpire.
Yeah, what's
the magic word?
Yeah, what's the like craziest thing you can get away with saying to an umpire?
Probably not much.
Like,
dude,
like profanity.
I know we're getting a little bit explicit, but it's kind of Rip After Dark. But it's also I'm only telling the story how it was. One of my favorite I never got tossed from a game. I have gotten away with dropping an F-bomb and being okay. Where you're saying that's fucking bullshit. That's way off. F you. I've even been in the dugout yelling at an umpire. And shout out Tom. I just absolutely obliterated Tom for screwing me out of a 3-2 pitch, 6 inches inside. And then Tom, the next game, was the first base umpire and took away a triple from me. So that's when I was saying a few words from the dugout. But my one teammate, he got called out on a check swing. So you guys understand a check swing?
Yeah.
Yes.
So check swing. Yes, he did. Didn't ask for help. And I won't say the player's name, but I'm going to send this clip out and he'll know exactly the moment. And I go, whoa, can you just check for help down the line? And the umpire goes, no, I'm 100% sure. He goes, you're 100% sure? He goes, this is my career. And you know what you're doing? You're just fucking me. And then the umpire goes, you're gone. And he goes, what did I say? He said, you told me you won that I was fucking you. He goes, well, not literally. He goes, not literally. But I said, it's my career. And I heard the entire thing, and the batter came back, and I don't want to say his name. He sits there, and I go, Willie, did I hear that correctly? He goes, he thought I was going to fuck him. And that's how it was. And I was sitting there, and going, it was unbelievable. Like those stories, but to your point, I got a little bit off track there. The point of it all is that certain umpires have a different threshold. Do you want to talk about umpires that had a bigger threshold? The Earl Weaver days
Yeah.
When we're talking about, and if everyone knows Earl threw out every word in the book, didn't matter. The umpires gave it right back to him. So it's a way different thing nowadays. You can get rung up for drawing a line. You can get rung up for interpretation of showing an umpire up. Whatever it may be, that's what's going to happen. Yeah. And here's an example of just like the old school days. Ryan, your granddad is one of the most awesomest people to ever talk to. He cussed every other word consistently, but he would talk to the fan. That's that old school mentality. The umpires had that. Nowadays, it's a little bit doesn't take much to get thrown out.
We watched Aaron Boone get tossed last year for a fan.
That was wild.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I'll never forget him pointing back like, it's him, I swear. Like it's the fan. And
was there
like,
ever a statement released on that? Or
no, they found out it was the fan, but I don't think
they cared.
No, they were not gonna. They weren't gonna go back after the game and be like, "Yeah, that's on us." I think they were just like, "Well,
it's funny, but not funny in the NBA how they'll release the 2-minute reports and it means nothing because the game doesn't change." But
yeah,
the one time
we got this wrong
when LeBron got hit on the arm in Boston and they missed the call.
Mm-hmm.
And the NBA released we've had sleepless nights over this call, like the official NBA saying we've had sleepless nights, like we'll be better. And now everybody uses that as a meme of like, this statement means nothing because you're not changing the outcome of the game.
Yeah.
But, they can kind of just.
It's sort of like,
that's the human error versus robot umps conversation.
Mm-hmm.
How much error do you want versus do you want it called the right way? So.
And this is actually Joe as you're talking about what do I think about getting rid of umpires? And this is what us doing that whole example of having a system where you can be more accountable. And back in the day, umpires were not as accountable because there wasn't as many systems in place. And they're human beings, meaning you'd like to say that they're not going to hold grudges. Umpires hold grudges. Kevin, if someone pisses you off, are you going to remember that if they're asking you for something in the future? You're not going to be as inclined to help them. Same thing on the field. They can try to be as unbiased as possible, but it's true. It's the human element of it. I just think with the ABS system, they have to be pretty precise with it, and that's the only thing. I don't think it's going to be perfect. I think it's where it's moving. I don't think umpires are ever going to be off the field, but calling plays or the strike zone, that might change. I just don't know exactly what exactly is the right notion of how that's going to go about. But I love the element of it, and I'll tell you what, it might piss players off, but it's also some of the greatest stories you can have. I have other stories with umpires, like I said, where one of the situations where I said I got really mad at an umpire one time, 3-2 pitch inside, Kev, and he was right. And I was jawing at him. Didn't toss me. And I went up to him next time. I go, hey, I even said like, hey, I owe you a drink. You were right. And he goes, I appreciate you saying that. And that little gesture, little banter back and forth. I love the fact that you can have at it and move on as long as one of you guys can say, or just be honest with it. That's what I love. But anyway, we went longer on that than I thought. Tomato. If you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube and X. And then we put a lot of stuff on Instagram as well.
Instagram.
And join the Discord. We still got the Discord there as well. We're trying to work on enhancing and making things better overall. We're working on it. Takes time. But we have a lot of great things. We have a lot of great guests coming up here soon, Kevin. But maybe then, since it is 4:12, we're getting closer to wrapping things up. But while we're talking a little bit about maybe what we got planned tomorrow, we should do a little bit of a little fitness test, Kevin.
Yeah, I got a dentist appointment tomorrow, so I gotta.
So you got to get your fitness in now.
Yeah.
Ollie, what are you doing, buddy?
I don't really know why I said that, but you know what?
You know what? I like you, Kevin.
I'm very excited about my Beat the Streak thing, which, again, I'm going to start my TikTok journey, and I guess I'm going to put it on Instagram and Twitter too. But Beat the Streak. Everybody send good vibes from Juan Soto and Josh Young. If they don't get a hit, my life is over. So.
Woo! The electric in the air.
You heard it here.
I love
Kevin
it.
Ostriker. But again, another time as we get into our fitness segment here. And our goal and challenge today for Kevin is, can he do for Merit Clubs? Shout out Merit Clubs right there. Beautiful. That is a person underneath. But Merit Clubs, they are allowing us to give out a 30-day free membership. FREE. 30 days. You want to do Pilates, you want to lift weights with Kevin, you want to come hang in the pool with us, check out Merit Clubs and check out the link we put in. I will re-put it in the link right now or in the chat so you guys can see. Because, guys, one thing that I am so excited about with Merit, it's about community. And we do have some other events that we're actually planning with them that we talked about, people helping people. Doesn't necessarily always have to be people. Maybe it could be a friend like Ollie down here is something that we are working on. But there's the link again, the code, which I will put below. It is RIP25. Kevin, are you tired? You sure? Yeah. There it is. And there's the code RIP25. Guys, click on that link. We're just trying to help out. Come play basketball. Come do Pilates. Come hang out at the pool with us and see if Kevin can reach his goals. But, Kevin, challenge for today for you. Zach, I think the 45-pound curl might be too much for you.
We got to work up to it.
So why don't we did you get those dumbbells?
No, I'm good.
Let's go get those dumbbells here. And so, Kevin, we can see, change it back over for a sec. How many dumbbell curls do we think Kevin can do?
What is it, 20 pounds?
Kevin, what's the weight? 10 pounds.
10 pounds? All right, Kevin, you should at least get 25 each arm. I'm going to put 25, if not more.
25 each arm.
So, maybe combine them. Go, we can go 2-arm action at the same time.
How is your balance? Can you do it on one leg? Is that too much to ask right now?
We're going for it all.
Yeah.
I mean, I have decent balance. Like this.
Yep. So you got to keep one leg, and then switch legs at the halfway point. Well, actually, go as long as you can. Yes. One leg and give me the dumbbell curls. Do you need to stretch out? I should put a disclaimer in here.
Sometimes I don't stretch, and that's not good. Always stretch. I did a 5K without stretching.
You did a 5K? That's right. You know who's training for a half marathon?
Yeah. Molly and I are training for a half marathon. It's going to be electric. I can't put the camera on me right now, but so Kevin, if you step up.
All right, and we will start the count right now. Here we go. One leg up. Yep. 5, 6. And while we'll just continue with a little commentary here for Kevin, 8, 9. And look in the glasses too. We are going to get fit this summer here.
Kevin, people are going to think you're so cool, dude. That's going to be great. Lifting in the sunglasses, in the sunnies.
Well, and the biggest thing too right now, what I love is woo. Come on, Kev. And this is the beauty of it. Whatever level you're at, we don't care. You do something. I mean, look at Kevin. Well, I meant that you're getting out there and doing our challenges here. What number are we at, Kev?
Nope.
He's at 20.
All right.
Do we think that he's done? Do you think he can do 25 each arm?
Yeah. Oh, his form's getting a little there, but.
I mean, the arms feel okay. It's more so me trying to keep the balance. That's really what I'm focusing on.
And if you want to make it harder, have your leg be up like you're running, like not back like a flamingo. Up. Yeah. Now drive it up. Now drive your leg up There it is.
Don't question things.
You want me to make it harder for you? Don't worry. But it's a great point here from Joe. Let's keep the elbows tight and control the eccentric, Kev.
Yeah.
So you want to try to bring it right down. Yep, and straight down. There we go. Better. You have this going all day. I'm worried if Kevin's going to be able to pick up his arms tomorrow.
No, this is going to be tough. My arms feel good right now. No, they're going to feel good. They'll feel great until we wake up tomorrow and you're not going to be able to bend them.
When I did the 5K, I was struggling for like a week walking. Actually, you know what the worst is when I do the squats here? Is I can't walk for like 3 days.
Oh, well, we could do squats. Yeah, let's bring that mic closer to Kevin.
Should I?
You're good now. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. How you feeling right now?
It's just trying to keep the balance. That's really it. I mean, the arms feel okay. Certainly, I'm feeling it a little bit in the triceps and the shoulders a little bit.
That's probably not where you should feel it.
Well, I'm unique.
I wonder here, and while we're actually doing this, and we'll keep this going with Kevin, the last thing I wanted to get into was Mike Elias did have a conversation on MLB Network radio recently about contracts. So why don't we play that clip while Kevin continues to do his bicep curls?
What?
Hey, we're doing our part on the club side and looking at it, making efforts. It's all happening in the background. It's case by case, and it's not easy. Players have different representatives. They've got different goals. We've had a ownership group that's basically been in for one calendar year and has only had one off season. And we were coming off of a very protracted kind of sale process and ownership change. So the sort of opportunity to engage on this front in a very serious manner has been pretty limited in that regard. So, it's something that we're trying to make in every best effort that we can, and obviously mindful of the activity around the league. But it's something that I can't get into much detail beyond that, and we'll just keep trying but also keep running the team as smartly and as responsibly as possible with an eye on trying to push right now, but keep the future of the organization as healthy as we can, because that's also necessary, especially in the division that we're in.
So I know a lot of people get on Mike Elias for feeling that it's all directly on him. And I don't think that that's fair. If you want to say, well, other teams are extending guys, sure. One new year of ownership coming in, a lot of moving parts, even though it's things, hey, plug and play, we're going to spend all of the money. It's not how it works. Also, there are different variabilities, and it takes more than just one person. Now, one thing I will say is that after this year, the drum's only going to beat louder if players are not signed. If none of those guys are extended, we're talking about a guy like Cedric Mullins. If Cedric goes, I think the part that what the biggest worry, Zach, for fans is they're afraid that they are going to lose all of it and this period's going to be done. So Santander was that piece that he left, and now you're worried because you haven't gotten the commitments from other guys. Well, is this just the inevitability? And that's what scares fans, especially because the Orioles haven't been to a World Series since 1983. The Orioles haven't had that feel besides for a 3-year run from 2012 or 5-year run, 2012 to 2017. So it's a fear that you're going to lose players and this window is gone and the Orioles are going to drop back into what they've really been for the last few decades, has been irrelevant as far as trying to win championships and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and I'll keep the camera on Kevin because I don't have it connected here right now. But I think also that 2012 to 2017, that 5-year stretch also, is what concerned fans, because you had Manny Machado, you had Jonathan Scope, you had all these guys that you felt like, okay, this was the window to go win. These are guys that should be Orioles for life. This team can go win a World Series. And then they didn't extend anyone. If they didn't, that core group ran their course in Baltimore, did what they did. And then, for, I think it was like 3-4 years, they're the most winningest team in the America, or won the most games in the American League. A lot of success, but not a lot of hardware, actually no hardware to show for it. You got a few banners, from winning the division, but there was no pennant, there was no World Series title. So I think that also scares fans is, okay, is this just we're reliving that 5-year window? And then it's back to what you said, it's the, underperforming. So I think it is kind of a tough spot for fans because you want to be optimistic, but there's in the back of your mind hey, if we don't sign these guys or re-sign these guys, then, we can say the window's open all we want. But if you're not re-signing these guys, that window goes from 5-6 years to you got 2-3 to put something together and win.
I think the big thing too is, there are so many of these guys that we're talking about, like for Adley, for Gunnar, for Jackson, even Jordan Westbrook. It's like, how many of those guys are you actually going to be able to retain, and what does that money look like? Because with every year, you talk even with the way they're supposed to play, with every month, it's almost a matter of, well, that price is going to go up. And so you see the deals that Christian Campbell got, that Jackson Merrill got, that a lot of these other young players have gotten. It's like, well, if we're talking about the end of this season and there's been no extension in place for any of those guys, how much more money is that going to be? Obviously, it's going to be deserved for any of them, but can they afford those 4 big-time contracts? I think for what we're looking at, an early extension for Jackson makes sense. Obviously, Gunnar and Adley, you want to get those guys under contract, but when is the timing right? I understand, like, for sure, it's a frustrating thing when you see other teams lock up their young stars like that, but, you just hope it can come soon for Baltimore, and hopefully sooner rather than later, but it's a crazy process, especially when you're trying to work with multiple guys at once getting those deals done.
And last thing I'll say, I think that the hate that Mike Elias is getting it's unfair to that extent, right? In the moment of the Orioles have had, still, we'll see what happens. They have been one of the most successful teams over the last 3 seasons in the American League. Even the year that they didn't make the playoffs when they made that run, when they weren't supposed to. 3 straight winning seasons, that's something Baltimore has not done much over the last 3 to 4 decades.
Yeah.
So he's done a tremendous job there. And it's not just on him then on handing out these contracts. I want to reiterate that. But as things go on and progress, he is the one, just like when you have a manager and just like you have an ownership, as situations can continue to move on and you don't see success or you don't see players staying or whatever the reasons may be, and Baltimore goes back to those days, well, then, unfortunately, that's what fans will remember. But at this point in time, 15 games into the 2025 season, and I really do, in the heart of hearts, believe we are going to see something sooner than later. Might not be with the main person you might think, or maybe it will. But one thing I think that fans just want, they want to feel like the guys that they have, that they are coming to know and love, they want to feel like they can connect with them. And that's why the Santander thing hurt so much, is that they felt they had a guy that they finally connected with over time. And what if that's going to be more to come? But we're going to have to wait to see. In the moment, the Orioles are going to battle. They're going to continue to scratch and claw. And then we'll see where the chips may fall. And actually, Rock Kabako just tweeted that's exactly what Michael Elias was saying, that the contract negotiations are continuing, ongoing. And like I said, I'm optimistic that we are going to see something this year. We'll see. But you know what we're also seeing? We're seeing Kevin Ostreicher.
Kevin, you're going to be so sore tomorrow. It's unreal.
We'll have to go back and count.
There's no counting. There's no counting.
How is there no counting?
Because it was also on Ryan for like half the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You've hit like 100. Easy.
I've hit like 300.
That's not
Don't
accurate
know
there.
about that, but
Mouse
you
Talk,
have.
I understand this point of what you're saying. New ownership would bring new results and contracts and extensions, and yet here we are. I understand it takes both sides to get a deal done, but we need to overpay a little, get it done. Also, with new ownership coming in, if they were a group that came in so aggressive and almost to a point of recklessness, is that what you'd want either? Like that's the one thing that I want to say. And also, they want to do their homework on what they are doing. And some of these guys, they really have to think long and hard about what they want to do. So I really think a fair assessment when you're talking about that plan, I think you need to get through 2025. Think about it. They took over and didn't have an off season to assess. This year, they're still trying to assess what they have. They jumped right into the fire when the season was starting last year. This was their first full off season that they had of running the team. And now we can be a better judge of this next year. And quite frankly, Zach, I'll be honest, again, this all goes back to winning. Winning cures everything. If the Baltimore Orioles win, we're not going to hear more of these conversations. But if the Baltimore Orioles lose and we still don't have players locked up, then we are going to hear the conversations continue to rise.
I forgot to put Colton Kaiser's name in there too. It's another guy.
Damn.
So
are you okay?
Yeah, it's the balance. I mean, my arms, you start to really start, you start to feel you're losing it a little bit when the weights start dropping.
Yeah, I was gonna say
the
though.
weights are like dropping down. But I could still go. Like, I don't know. I feel kind of like lightweight when I'm on one leg.
Well, how about this then? To close it out here, to give you the full body, give me 20 squats with those over your head.
Oh, these?
Yeah.
I was going to get the bill. I was like,
I don't want to torture him
like,
with that.
Here we go. See, now the issue with the over the arms is that my
Your arms are dead.
kind of cooked. Okay.
But you can keep them here.
Like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of rest.
Ready? To close out the show.
Oh, my eyes start knocked up.
Kevin.
Kevin. Oh, all right.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is interesting to watch this.
It really is. Kevin, how many we at?
9. Counting this time.
Breathe.
Is that 12? Yep. 13.
14. 15. Uh-oh. 16. Uh-oh, Ollie. 17.
All right.
18. 19. 20. Yeah. That was a great. You didn't hear the emoji part of it, Kevin.
Yeah,
It
I
was
gave
beautiful.
you this. I gave you the clap track.
I'm not even tired.
You're way better than the last time. Your
Kevin,
voice
you're gonna
released.
be so sore.
We're gonna need an update tomorrow.
We'll be ripped.
Hey, as we get ready to wrap up this show, should we tease what we got going on tomorrow?
I think
Let's
so.
do it.
Okay, so hey, look, we really pride ourselves on giving you the best content that we can, and we're continuing to grow. We're continuing to evolve. So again, we appreciate our sponsors, Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia, and Merit Clubs. Again, that link in the chat. Free 30 days. We want to partner with people that want to give back. And Deep Betty is that same way. Iron Rooster's that same way. So it's a good way to segue into tomorrow. Iron Rooster Kyle is going to join us, owner of the Iron Rooster. We're cooking tomorrow. And a couple teams that are coming to Baltimore, the Guardians and the Reds. Why don't we taste one of their specialty foods tomorrow right here in studio? We were supposed to have a former Oriole join us again tomorrow, but we might have to pre-record it. At the moment, he's beloved. He's already been on the Ryan Ripken show.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a Cleveland Guardian right now.
Yeah.
John Means. We're going to have some content with John Means. But then the other guest that we're going to have join us tomorrow is not a baseball player.
Yeah,
I guess he
think
was.
Yeah. I guess he might be known around here a little bit.
this guy, and it's NFL draft week. He's still playing in the NFL. And by the way, he helped bring the Lombardi back to the Baltimore Ravens and win Super Bowl 47. How about good old Joe Flacco is going to join us tomorrow at around, I think, 3:30, 4 p.m. So Joe Flacco is going to join the Ryan Ripken Show tomorrow, catch up with him, talk about what he enjoys more, throwing a touchdown for the Cleveland Browns or the Baltimore Ravens, right? But
yeah, we'll see what the answer to that is.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll love to answer that one. But in all seriousness, Joe Flacco is going to join us. And then Thursday, could have some more guests specifically that are going to be along for the ride. But you got to follow along with us to find out that. Holy Shirts and Pants members, you're going to find that out actually in a few minutes. But appreciate you guys. Again, hit the like and subscribe button. There's Stackhouse. Flacco. Let's go, Joe Flacco. Yeah, I'm excited. And Joe actually has a baseball background. His brother, baseball background. Kevin Ostreicher, baseball background.
That is true. All injured team for my whole high school career.
I had to mute.
Lost team.
I had to mute Kevin's mic for a minute because he was breathing into the
too hard.
I was like, Kevin is.
I'm not even tired.
No.
Hey, you know what? I love this, by the way. At the end of the day, I appreciate you guys tuning in. And one thing, and that's actually how I wanted to finish up the show. If I wasn't going to start with it, I wanted to end with this. Okay? You guys also know what it is around Major League Baseball today?
Jackie Robinson Day.
It's Jackie Robinson Day. And we all know the meaning of Jackie Robinson Day, at least here in the States. For those that don't, this was the day Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, transformed not just the game of baseball, but a different outlook throughout the entire society in the sports world and even just around the United States. A pioneer, one of the best players to ever do it. And talk about a guy that persevered and also went out and did the damn thing at such a high level. That was Jackie Robinson. So happy Jackie Robinson Day. The impact lives on. 42. You know what I do find fascinating? The only other player that recently was allowed to wear 42 was Mariano Rivera. I don't know if you guys knew that at that time. Jackie Robinson, one of my favorite things is when you get to see the 42s all around there. So I wanted to make a very good point, or a very big effort to that. Jackie Robinson Day is such a beloved thing in Major League Baseball, but it's more than just Major League Baseball. It is a person that helped change and make a better environment for the ones around him. So I think that's a good way to end the show. Any thoughts, concerns on the way out of here?
No, just let's watch some good baseball tonight.
Let's watch some good baseball. Hey, and yep, Nomadic Brian, salute to Jackie Robinson. Laura, made my dad believe. That's what we're talking about. You need people that are sitting there and making a difference for the next generation. Jackie Robinson did that and then some on top of it. So maybe that's a good way to do it. You be a difference out there. And Zach, let's cue the music. As always here on the Ryan Ripken Show, we appreciate each and every one of you. Hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. Have a day, have a night, have a great stinking Tuesday. We'll be right back here on Wednesday to do it all over again. Enjoy your evening.
Peace.